Hey, welcome back, everybody, to another segment of Wednesday Wisdom on the Educational AD Podcast. We'll be right back with this week's Wednesday Wisdom guest, but we're going to give a shout out to our sponsors. I know regular listeners, we do this every time, but these are all great companies that I used as an AD. I really recommend that you check them out. So listen to our shout outs. It's going to take about 3 minutes. Then listen to our Wednesday Wisdom interview, and then go and visit these sponsors. I'm telling you, you're going to be glad you did. Here we go. We want to say thanks to our good friends at Vital Signs Wall of Fame and encourage you to go to their website and take a look at their interactive touch screen. That's right, touchscreen video consoles. If you're looking for a really cool way to display your school record boards or your Hall of Fame, you really need to check these out. You put one of their units in your gym lobby or your main school hallway, it's going to be a magnet for kids, coaches, how about sponsors and alums. Go to vitalsignswalloffame.com. Check out their great products today. We also want to say thanks to Gipper. Go to Gipper.com. Their team is going to have you creating world-class content in seconds for your school's social media channel. Maybe it's just a simple social media post to celebrate a victory, or it could be an entire newsletter that showcases all the great things your department's doing. How about your school colors, your school logo, branding? The templates make it so easy. As I like to say, it's so easy, even I can do it. Go to Gipper.com to get started, and don't forget to mention the podcast. That's Gipper.com. We also want to say thanks to Snap Raise. Have you ever spent weeks and weeks with a fundraiser and been disappointed in the results? Well, those days are gone. Go to snapraise.com. We used it at our school with tremendous success. It works. Go to SnapRaise. You can check out all their other great platforms. But if you're looking for a fundraiser, you just found it, and it's SnapRaise. Check them out today. We want to say thanks to Home Campus. Home Campus is the official platform for the Florida High School Athletic Association. But if you're in another state, you can still use Home Campus for all of its features, especially their athletic clearance and eligibility platform. It's the gold standard. Go to homecampus.com to find out more. Don't forget to mention the podcast, homecampus.com. We also want to say thanks to Huddle. As a football coach, I used Huddle for years, but when I became an athletic director, I made sure that our school was a Huddle school, and our coaches loved the tools, our athletes loved the videos, and our parents loved the streaming. But there's a lot more. Go to huddle.com, join the 8 million users, turn your school into a Huddle school. We also want to say thanks to Sideline Interactive, indoor score tables, and video boards. Go to sidelineinteractive.com. You can schedule a live web demo and see all their products in action. Probably one of the best purchases I ever made was our Sideline Interactive indoor score table. Go to sidelineinteractive.com. See all the great things they can offer your program. We also want to say thanks to Ohio University and their online masters in athletic administration. My assistant athletic director, along with thousands of others, got his master's through the Ohio University program, and it was a great experience. While doing it, he also completed 11 NIAAA leadership training courses at no extra charge. Check out Ohio University and their online masters in athletic administration. We also want to say thanks to our good friends at Hometown. Hometown is still the leading digital ticketing provider, but there's a lot more. Hometown's changing the game with their suite of solutions for things like, online ticketing, but how about athletic website construction, fee-free fundraising, and a lot more. Whether you're an athletic director, a head coach, or a school administrator, Hometown makes it easy for you and your school to save time, raise more money, and bring your community together. To find out how, go to hometown.com. And we want to thank Athletic Surveys by LifeTrack. At my school, we use surveys for everything. Kids, coaches, parents, and the information that would come back was almost always over the top positive, and it'll be the same for you. But the surveys also connected us to those squeaky wheel parents allowed us to hear their concerns and keep them from turning into something big. And part of that discussion was the 98% approval rating that we had through all of that survey data. Go to athleticsurveys.com. They're going to create a custom survey that lets you take the pulse of everybody in your program, kids, coaches, parents, even teachers. Go to athleticsurveys.com to find out more information. Make sure you mention the podcast, but go to athleticsurveys.com. Welcome back, everybody, to another segment of Wednesday Wisdom on the Educational AD Podcast. We've got somebody I like to call an A-lister on the podcast today. Her previous interview was one of our most highly rated of the year so far, and glad that she has come back. Our guest is Amanda Cromwell. Those of you that listen to the show, certainly recognize that name. If you don't, well, I'm going to tell you a little bit about her. Has an incredible background as an athlete, as a coach, as a leader. She was a member of the U.S. Women's National Soccer team. She won a gold medal as a player, participated in World Cup competitions, as a coach. Has a tremendous record as a coach. Oh, by the way, she won an NCAA national championship coaching UCLA's women's soccer team. She was a professional soccer player. She coached at the professional level. Now she works as a consultant and advisor in the world of sports, not just for teams and athletes and coaches, but for some Fortune 500 companies. Amanda Cromwell, welcome back to the Educational AD Podcast.
Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to be here.
Well, again, really enjoyed you sharing with our listeners last time. Excited to move forward. We were talking before the show. You've got kind of a theme going, so I'm going to step out of the way and let you get started. What do you have for our listeners on Wednesday Wisdom?
Yeah, I thought, it seems to be a theme right now that we're seeing with some clients of kind of getting stuck, or you're in complacency, and how do you get out of that, or even how you define it, and what are some ways you can see that you're in it? Because a lot of times we get our blinders on and we don't even really see we're in a rut. And so we're trying to help people through that. And the opposite side of that is when you're not in complacency, you're striving for excellence. So then also, how do you define excellence, and what does that look like? And I think we make micro decisions every day to strive for excellence. And it can be small things. And obviously there's some macro decisions, but usually it's the little decisions every day that get the wheels in motion to strive for something bigger and get us off that complacency couch. And that's a term Liz likes to use. It's in our corporate executive coaching, or even with the athletes and coaches as well, is because we can get stuck on that complacency couch because others are there as well. And so we can also, we pull each other into these environments sometimes without even realizing where we are. And sometimes it takes a teammate or a coach or a leader of a corporate team, a boss maybe, to be like, hey, I think we can get more out of you. I'm seeing these habits. And sometimes the habits can not be that detrimental, but they're habits of, waking up late. If I look at athletes that might have been stuck in complacency, waiting till last minute to do work, if they're in a college athlete, homework, not striving, and when I say striving for excellence, not putting themselves in the best position to be successful. And it's just, sometimes complacency can look like boredom. It can look like you're not seeing like the truth of what you can do. And by that, I mean, I'll use an example of when I tore my ACL, because it's a good one for me. I wrote an essay about striving for excellence for Lauren Gregg's book. Lauren was my college coach at Virginia, but also an assistant on the national team. And she wrote a book and was like, would you write about your experience, coming back from your ACL? And the best way for me to describe it is, I could have, after an injury, it's really easy to get stuck in complacency. It's really easy, because you kind of get in the woe is me mentality. Why did this happen? You can kind of get stuck, like literally sitting on the couch because you can't work out anymore. You're rehabbing. You're eating food that you shouldn't eat. You're staying up late. You just get caught in these habits and this rut. And one thing that I decided as an athlete coming back from injury is I don't know where this is going to go, or where this is going to take me, but I'm going to put my best foot forward every day in my rehab to be disciplined. I think the reason some people don't strive for excellence, or they don't get off that complacency couch, is because it's hard. It is hard. But then you will realize, once you get off and you're striving for excellence, and you're not necessarily attached to the outcome, but you're striving for excellence, you will be happier. You will see growth. You'll have some peace about what you're doing, and you'll feel better about yourself. And so that's how I approached my ACL recovery. Is like every day I put my best foot forward. Sleeping, doing what I needed to do with, icing and the rehab. Like, I went after it. And also I was trying to get back for the 96 Olympics. So I had a huge goal out in front of me, but again, not knowing how that was going to end up. And I think some people, like, we need goals like that help us to strive for excellence. Like, we have something out there, and it could be short term, long term. But I went for it. And striving for excellence for me meant not necessarily making that team. Like, that wasn't the indicator of success. It was the indicator for success to me was what I did daily in striving for excellence, and how I went about my recovery. And that's one of the proudest moments of my life as a coach and a player, because I got back in 3 months. And again, who knew I was going to be able to, my body would respond like that. But I gave myself a chance. And I think that's when we strive for excellence, we make those micro decisions. We give ourselves a chance for this potential success. And again, success is defined in all different ways. Society defines it for us sometimes, and that's what we have to define our own success and what that meant. And getting back in 3 months was my success. It was a little bittersweet because, yes, I made the Olympic team, but I also was an alternate, because at the time the roster was only 16 and I was one of 20. And now, in today's days, I would have been on the, not an alternate, but one of 20. So there was a little bittersweetness to it, but I rested knowing I did everything I could. And that's where I think we need to look at the complacency couch and getting off of it and doing what you can to then strive for excellence and make those micro decisions.
Well, I just love everything you're sharing. I'm going back to the first time you mentioned today. You mentioned the complacency couch. I don't know if I've ever heard that term, but it's a great visual. I
Yeah.
thought of the expression, misery loves company,
Yep.
and you're absolutely right. The other thing that you mentioned, the opposite of complacency is, striving for excellence. I have always been a good to great fan. Just
Mm-hmm.
love that book. And, that's the whole idea
Yeah.
is, good is the enemy of great.
Yep.
I used to share with my coaches, and again, I didn't invent this, but I would say, hey, let's be happy with what we've accomplished, whatever that was. We got through the season without injuries. We won more games than we did last year. The kids seem really happy. Oh, we won a state championship. Let's be happy, but let's not be satisfied. What can we do better? How can we,
Right.
keep this going? Is that a theme that you found to work at your level? Because again, for listeners, Amanda's played and coached with success at the highest level. So I'm curious how that applies in your experience.
Yeah, I think, when you look at it from, like I say, John Wooden perspective, that was, John Wooden was all over UCLA, and he talked about the little things, the little details, and how important it is. And that's where we just have to embrace that. It's like, okay, what can we do, and how can we help each other, and not worry about society's definition of success? Because that's, only one team wins a championship at the end of the season. Yes, you can win a conference, but in the end, you have a lot of teams that don't win, but you still can have a successful season. You can still have a successful individual season, and you can reach goals, and you can be proud of yourself. And I think we lack that sometimes, and that's where we get stuck on the complacency couch. It's like, well, you know, I didn't accomplish X, Y, or Z. So now it's like it's almost like shame and doubt, and then it becomes like this cycle of getting stuck because I didn't have success, or my coach or my teammate didn't think I had success, or there might be, in college or even the corporate world, um, a deal didn't go through. Well, what did we learn from that deal? And I think not learning from our failures will get us on that couch even stuck more. Like, we have to grow through the failures. We have to grow through the adversity. And then sometimes that's when the most amount of growth happens, is through adversity, because what we learn and how we communicate with each other, and what can come from being vulnerable and authentic in our corporate world, our athletic world. Sometimes, and a lot of coaches will say, like, when we watch video, and sometimes you might win a game, and you might miss where you were exposed. But if you lose a game, you almost like dive into the video a little bit deeper with a keener eye, and then you see some ways you were exposed, and you may have been exposed the exact same way in a game you won, but you didn't see it because you won. So that the failure of the result made you see some things you didn't know were there that will help you down the road. And so those are lessons I learned as a coach, is like really try to, even if you have success, the perceived success of a result of a W, what still looking for, like, what can I change? What can go better? Even with the W, what can I see to help the players, or help the staff, or grow through, these little micro adversities during a match. Like, you have breakdowns all over the place, and sometimes the failure of a loss kind of helps you see that, and it magnifies, and then you can grow from it.
All right, I've got a long question here, and I guess I'm hoping for your answer, but let's see what happens. You mentioned challenges, micro adversities. I love that term. I'm stealing that, by the way. And you just mentioned failure. As coaches, I think as athletes, again, my athletic experience is injuries and lack of talent kept me out of the National
Mm.
Football League. Probably the latter more than the former. But I think we understand that you get better uh, through trial and failure and coming back, and particularly at the high school level, probably even younger. Hopefully not at the college level, we see parents with very good intentions that are trying to remove any possibility of failure to
Mm.
shelter their child, not understanding that that's an important concept. And I know a lot
Yeah.
of these parents never went through sports, so they didn't get it. So here's my question. In your experience, athlete, coach, leader, working with C-suite executives and Fortune 500 companies, have you ever seen anyone that's had success without experiencing failure?
Never. Like, never. Like, there's always somewhere along the line you can go back to someone's story. What's their backstory, and they'll have some incredible, and it might, obviously there's levels of adversity, and there's loss, and there might be grief involved, but even trauma, like, people overcome some, um, and show amazing resilience and persistence, and their ability to overcome. And and there's always that component of the the strength they showed, the motivation to overcome. And I've yet to see somebody at a high level, a high performer, whether it's an athlete, executive, not have a failure, not have some sort of adversity. And there's some athletes. I still, I talk to a lot of my former athletes, and I just recently had a conversation with one of them that I had no idea some of the things that they had gone through in high school. That now when I look back, and it opens my eyes a little bit to wow, how courageous and resilient they were in their college environment to then just plug away and try to grow and be a better human for others, have a servant heart, um, amazing in the community, amazing teammate. And it blew me away talking to this athlete about what they had been through, and then how they used it for good almost to help others, and to now they're in med school, and so you have those stories and they're so inspiring, and those are and it's very authentic and vulnerable to share sometimes, and sometimes people don't, or they're ashamed, or and I want to lift that stigma away from failure, because it's not shameful to fail. We all fail, we all have setbacks, but how do we help each other grow through them is what's important.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm sure there's a number of different cliches that express this. The football one, it's not a sin to get knocked down; it's a sin to stay down. We all get knocked down, but getting up, getting off of that
Right.
complacency couch. Great stuff. Let's go and share with our listeners who might not be familiar with what you're doing now. You have Cromwell Coaching, of course. You're also a part of Liz Bentley Associates. Um, Share with our listeners, what those resources are and maybe how they can reach out and take advantage of them.
Absolutely. My website is Cromwell Coaching. Sorry, AmandaCromwell.com. My email is cromwellcoaching@gmail.com. But I'm also one of the executive coaches with Liz Bentley and Associates. That Liz is one of my UVA teammates that we played soccer together, reconnected. They've been in the corporate world coaching executives, high level, across all genres of careers, and for almost 20 years now. So we started a sports division of her company last year. So getting in, working with staffs, like might be a coaching staff, just bringing them together. We use the DISC assessment. There's an athlete assessment DISC now that's specific for executives, coaches, and athletes in the sports world. So you really get really good data to use to like be more aware of each other, tendencies, behaviors, how you communicate, what are some triggers. But what we're finding and working with it, so we've worked with college teams as well, and we're talking to MLS teams and trying to get in wherever we can to help the culture of these teams. And it's in the end, we want to help their performance, their overall performance on the field. But what we're seeing is this is helping humans on such an internal level to operate in a way that they're so much more aware in their world. So this can help for their future job, future relationships, and just their awareness of how they operate, but also then how others operate, and showing more kindness and curiosity rather than judgment on somebody and how they might be different than you. And there's so much that it goes into. There's so many layers to what we're doing, and the growth we've seen from not only coaches but players, and how we can empathize more with each other, and really kind of come along and collaborate in a way that I haven't seen before, that is based on data. And I think I've mentioned in the past, like I love data. I was a biology major. I'm a science background. So like back in the day when I was at UCF, we were one of the first college teams to use the GPS and heart rate, and how that affects, Friday, Sunday games, and 2 games a weekend, and all the different metrics we can use. Well, this is the mental, emotional side of the game that we can actually get data from this DISC survey. That's 12 minutes. It's so, I mean, now with AI and how exact this report is, and how it's so detailed for the individual. So you kind of take some guesswork out of how an assistant might respond to you, or how a player might respond to you if you're a head coach, and if you're a corporate world, putting teams together. It will help you. Like, what are we lacking on a team? Do we need someone that's more like a go-getter, taking risks, attacking minded players. A lot of attacking minded players are like either D's or I's in the disc profile because they are risk takers and they play with some freedom that maybe S's and C's don't play with. But doesn't mean they can't be. It's not an indicator of success. So we just see it's an indicator of some tendencies and then how we can help teams potentially form just really well-rounded units, and whether it's an attacking unit, a coaching staff. You don't want a team of all D's and you don't want a team of all C's. You know what I mean? Like there's got to be a lot of give and take, and coming together to complete each other. And that's one thing as a coach I felt like, and it's really important in my staffs. I always got people around me that were good at questioning me. We're good at bringing out new ideas. And the questioning ones need to be the C's. The new idea ones are the I's. The ones that are like really good teammates and the glue are the S's. So I'm a D, and I always had I's, S's, and C's on my staff. I didn't know that at the time. And this is something I would definitely go back and use if, in the coaching world. And I've been, telling all of my colleagues, former colleagues, how powerful this is. But just taking the guesswork out and knowing what you have and then working with that, and us, so Liz and I can decipher it and educate these teams, these individuals, and then potentially coach them one-on-one as well. We're coaching some college coaches like twice a month. And again, it's a deep dive into human behavior. And sometimes we even go back to the imprinting years and why are you you? Like what formed you? There's so much in our genetic makeup. There's sometimes trauma gets passed down through generations. But there's also, who was around us as a kid and how that shaped us, right? And so we're just excited about it. And the corporate world is way ahead of the athletic world in using this data. So this is exciting stuff for us to like try to implement some new programming with some whether it's high school or college. Like we've been working more with college teams, but it'd be beneficial for high school as well. Probably a freshman is probably the youngest we'd want to work with that athlete. But I have worked with an eighth grader before. They need to be pretty mature to have these conversations, but even if it's not a athlete and coach that you work with, like you can work with athlete and a parent and get, if one, like an athlete and a parent did the disc, we can then put their profile side by side and show some really interesting comparisons of communication and feedback, and what are some strengths and weaknesses and how to communicate. So we can use the reports get spit out a lot of different ways. We have like 4 different versions of the report we can do. So again, super, super powerful.
Oh, no, it sounds incredible. And again, I've been on your website before. Again, for listeners, it's amandacromwell.com. Lots of services, lots of resources. As she mentioned, some one-on-one coaching, but also working with, if you're an AD, working with your athletic staff, working with the entire school, both through her website and with Liz Bentley and Associates. Go to amandacromwell.com. You can also connect with her on LinkedIn. That's how we first connected. And
Yes,
add her to your team. So, Amanda, thanks as always for sharing with our listeners. All the best moving forward. Are getting into those summer months, so hopefully you'll get a break. And before you know, it's going to be fall season again.
yeah, we're looking forward to working with as many teams that want to grow and many different facets, and we want to help performance on and off the field and engagement and cultures. This is, as you can tell, like it excites me, and I get pretty passionate about it. And again, this is like a incredible opportunity. Thanks for having me on, and I always love our discussions.
Oh no, you're part of the team now. We're not letting you go. For our listeners, we appreciate you. And just a reminder, we upload the Zoom recordings of every interview to the Educational AD Podcast YouTube channel. We do Wednesday Wisdom once a week, but just about every day. We try to share stories from the world of athletics along with some best practices. So please join us again on the next episode of the Educational AD Podcast. Thanks for listening. Before we go, of course, we want to give a shout out to our sponsors. And just a reminder, these are all companies that I used as an athletic director. They're great companies. You should be using them too. So, Hometown, go to hometown.com for more information. Athletic surveys by LifeTrack. Huddle, that's huddle.com. Ohio University and their online masters in athletic administration. How about SnapRaise, snapraise.com. Home Campus, as I like to say, it's a platform you're going to use every single day. Sideline Interactive, indoor score tables and video boards. Gipper, go to gipper.com. And Vital Signs Wall of Fame. Let them help you bring your school's legacy to life. Thanks again for listening. We'll see you next time on the Educational AD Podcast.